Okay, let me see 15 people now. Yeah, I think all people here should be familiar with the school already. Okay, let's kind of skip this first part. So let's start now. We already start recording. DeFi. I think that's one of the things we've been talking for so long. Decentralized finance is based on the blockchains, right? We talk about NFT, we talk about blockchain. So that's another really important part is the DeFi, distributed finance. Okay, before we start, anyone has any idea what really DeFi is?
I thought when decentralized finance, I thought it was where you're not necessarily dependent upon a bank. I mean, and I did not realize it was necessarily meaning you're using blockchain. It can be, but I thought you can define a banking function as DeFi without using blockchain was my thought.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so basically, think about the banks has been so powerful, right? Banks are very rich too. If we go to any downtown, the highest building is the bank, right? So that's bank want to show they have a lot of assets. So it's very profitable business. So DeFi basically is get rid of bank. Whatever the bank will do, DeFi can do, but without the bank. That's what the DeFi is supposed to do. So now to do that, you use a distributed finance. So you have to base on some technology, that's blockchain. So what blockchain provided is immutable distributed ledger. So I explained the last time, for the blockchain is a database. Basically, blockchain is a database, but this database is different from any other relational database. All the record is immutable, means you cannot change it. Because of that, so you can do finance. Okay, you do any transactions, nobody can change the record. For that reason, you don't need a bank. The reason you have bank is like a middleman. So the middleman can guarantee there's no fraud in between. So that's what the bank's doing. They collect money, loan the money out, and then the bank is the one supposed to be fair to everyone, and then you cannot cheat other people. So the bank is very important, but now if you can eliminate the bank, then you have to have a system which is equally important, right? So you cannot change anything. The system have to guarantee that. That's why we've been talking about the blockchain all the time. So in one, remember last time I said, in one sentence, what's blockchain? Blockchain is distributed database, but it's immutable. So that's the only thing different from other databases. Other databases, you can update the record. The blockchain, you cannot update. You cannot change the record. When it happens, it stay there forever.
So Glenn, question, is the intent of this DeFi to keep the banks out of the system or not necessarily? The reason I ask the question is that now, cryptocurrency is a very new technology. Banks already own 90% of cryptocurrency, just as they own 90% of all the stocks and all the other assets in the world.
Yeah, this is considered bank as an investment, right? So there's another proposal, the 401ks, they're going to invest in the cryptocurrencies. So bank try to get into the business. At the very minimum, they can invest. It's like any other organizations. The institute, now they see the crypto market is really expand a lot recently. So a lot of people want to get into the market. Bank is a very profitable business. If you try to get rid of bank have to find a way to stay in the business, right? One of the things they can do, they can invest in the cryptocurrency or DeFi. Okay, I think one of the questions is this is a part of fintech. Yes, this is part of fintech. Okay, so that's what I normally do. If you really want to see how it is, this is called wallet. You can download the wallet. So I download my let me see. Can you see my screen? Okay, let me see. I probably have to reshare. You cannot see. No, you only see my slides, right? Maybe I have to reshare to show my wallet.
Oh, you know, we see the slides on the list of slides on the left, and then the main slides you're showing in the center.
Yeah. I want to share the screen. If I share the screen, then if I see those things, you can probably see other part of the right. So that's why I want to see this thing. Okay, you see, yeah. So you can see my other screens, right? Okay, that's
We saw your Gmail.
right. Okay, so
Were you gonna
that's
show us Coinbase? We saw Coinbase for a second.
right. So now you see the slides, right?
Yes.
Yes, we're seeing the slides at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will show that later. But basically, what I try to show you is I download the digital wallet. So in this wallet, that's what I'm saying. The money goes to the wallet. Then from the wallet, you can do a lot of things. There's all the transactions. You can buy, you can create the NFTs, and then you can trade. Okay, basically the DeFi, I think the main business, think about it, there's a lot of things you can do. One thing the bank's doing is doing the loan business. They lend the money to people, charge the interest, and then they collect money from the people, right? So that's the business. They are just like a middleman. They get your money and lend the people and charge the interest. And then that's all they're doing. But this is a good business. They don't need to produce anything.
Right. Well, but Glenn, whoever creates the digital wallet, aren't the digital wallets taking a piece at some point?
The digital wallet is like it's just a wallet. But with this wallet, you can, for example, between you and me, then I can loan money to you. I don't need to go through the bank.
Right. But to get a digital wallet, somebody's creating the digital wallet and standing behind its security and such. Is it like just purchasing an app when you purchase a digital
you just
wallet?
download it. You just download. It's like a login to an account.
Okay, but
all the security is a technical terms. So they have all of the security mechanism to secure or to safeguard your money.
I mean, if you're using like Apple's wallet or somebody else's, somebody that you know who's standing behind it,
That's different. It's different. There's nothing. There's nobody to stand behind it. It's just an app. I will explain that later. I can show that. Okay.
Because security is a big issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, security is a big issue. But now at this moment, just think about this way. With this blockchain technology, we can guarantee your securities. I put it this way: security is being guaranteed by technologies at this moment. Okay, so now we will see that. Okay, so the intention of the whole thing is because we have this blockchain technology, we can keep the record immutable. So that makes a basis for all finance transactions, because you cannot do any fraudulent transactions. Everything will be transparent. With that technology, then you can do distributed finance. You can do P2P finance. You do not need a bank in between.
Glenn,
Yes.
can you explain what happened with Luna?
Yeah, I will do that later.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that later. Okay, so that's just for the time being, we just in a higher level to explain what a DeFi means, and then we can go to very specific coins. Okay, so that's making it clear. This is a big business. Okay, now think about it. If you can get rid of the bank and do all the things between people, that's bigger market. Okay, that's what we try to explain what's the DeFi. So that's what I said. What's the benefit, right? It's open. Anyone can do it. You don't need a bank to approve your loan. You can get loan from the market. And then it's kind of a pseudo anonymous. Basically, you do not need to provide your personal information. Now, why you're worried about people cheating you? This cannot, because that's actually everything's transparent. There's nobody can really change the record. So that's the reason, once you have the contract in place, then nobody can change it. So now back to the case, it's not way to enforce that, right? That's different terms. But at this moment, in technology-wise, we do not need a middleman. We can guarantee you can have a fair transactions between two individuals. That's called DeFi. And it's quite flexible and it's fast. It's flexible and then it's fast. Okay, the interest and the reward can be updated rapidly, very 15 seconds. We will explain now how we do that. Okay, so this is at this moment, if you go for the bank, you know everyone probably have the loan from the bank. It takes about months. It goes through all the paperwork. You can get the money. But now you think about if you get this from the market, you can be very flexible. Anybody set the rate, then other people can say, okay, I want to get this loan. They can get this loan. So it's just transparent. Everyone involved can see the full set of transactions. So think about this is an ideal case. Now you don't need a middleman. You can do all the banking. So that's the advantages. Okay, that's the benefit. Now, how does this DeFi works? Right. As I mentioned earlier, first, technology-wise, you really have the guarantees, securities, immutabilities, transparencies, and then there's a privacy. So that's based on blockchain technologies. So the blockchain technology can guarantee that. Then there's applications we call the dApps that are used to handle transactions around the blockchains. So blockchain is just basic technology to provide a database. Basically, you can think about this, blockchain is a database. Now, how to apply, use this database is called the applications, it's a dApp. Now, what we do is called P2P finance transactions without the middleman, so without the bank in between. So that's primarily what we do is just P2P without the bank. Now, what we do here is use a cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, we are not using this US dollars. This is issued by the central bank. So what you are borrowing or your loan or lending is called cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum. So that's what we do, use this currency, the cryptocurrency for the DeFis. Now, DeFi is just to design use a cryptocurrency for transactions. So that's the design, everything based on a blockchain, and then all the things we do is cryptocurrency. So last time we mentioned, okay, we have blockchain, we define this cryptocurrency. It look like to most people, the cryptocurrency is not of too much use because you cannot use now to buy things. It's purely for investment, for appreciations, right? If you invested in 2013, so appreciated 10,000 times already in general, right, on average. So that's kind of things what people see. You put in 2013, you put $10,000 now is pretty much $100 million. So I know a lot of people make lots of money from that. So that's what I think the general impressions about cryptocurrencies. But we are talking about here, actually, you can use this money, not just buy things, but at least you can use these things for the finance. And when I say finance, means just like a loan business. Okay, now here's the issue. Whenever you want to borrow something, you don't like current cryptocurrencies. The reasons that cryptocurrencies fluctuate too much. Right, so today is 30,000, next day is 20,000, the other day maybe 40,000. So that's a big issue with cryptocurrencies. So now you really want to do business. So we come up with a new idea called a stable coin. So the stable coin means they're stable. It's not like Bitcoin. They fluctuate 20% a day. So there's no way you can use this Bitcoin for business. I think Elon Musk mentioned, okay, you can use the Bitcoin to buy the Tesla. I think only after a few days is no. because the price changed too much. So now we really have to come up with ideas of stable coin. So what's a stable coin? Just for the time being, we just say, okay, stable coin, the value of the stable coin is stable. That's all. You don't have to worry about how the things can fluctuate. They can pack into like US dollars, right? This is the fiat currencies like US dollars. So it's equivalent to $1, one-to-one mapping. So that's called the stable coins. With these stable coins, then you can imagine now we can do business, right? So that's a very high levels what we can do with this the distributed finance. So we have some basic components already. We have a stable coins. We have a blockchain. We can do business between any individuals, P2P. So that's we call the DeFi loans. Right? In DeFi loans, you can get your app. You can define an app. We show how the app looks like, and then you can say how much money you want, and then automatically you're going to match match the lender, and then the borrower, and then they can get into agreement in like 15 seconds. So that's, you can imagine this is really good things, right? So this you get a loan from bank, they investigate 1 month, then they give you the loan, and then there's a lot of middlemen. The agent maybe charge you. The agent doesn't necessarily you pay the agent, but the agent make money for each transactions, maybe 40,000, I mean 4,000 or 5,000, even like $10,000. So that's a lot of time and effort to get the finance business. Lots of people work on that, bankers, agent, all kind of things. And then for all the reason, they've been so costly to just get a loan and just make sure nobody get you have a suffer loss. You know, they have to have all the legal documentations, check your background, make sure you can pay back. So those kind of things just guarantee one thing: the loan will not get lost. So that's lots of effort. Now, with DeFi's, what are we going to do? So the first thing is, we have to prevent this the flaws, right? So that's why we have blockchains. You have those securities, all kind of things. Then you have the consensus, the mechanism to verify that. So a lot of things, all things we are doing here with the we call the CeFi, centralized finance, will be done in the DeFi systems. So nothing actually being changed. Only thing being changed is the platform and how you do the business. So everything happens in DeFi, it happens in a CeFi, centralized finance. Now the currencies, right? The currencies, as I said a little bit earlier, DeFi use a cryptocurrency for transactions. So much of the concept is really about stable coins. So the Lunar is not a stable coin; it's just a crypto coins. We will see that a little bit later. So the cryptocurrency is backed by an entity that's pegged to the fiat currency, like a dollar. So that's called a stable coin. So stable coin supposedly always have this fixed amount of value. $1 equals to another US dollars. So that's more likely the case. So that's called a stable coin. Okay, now things that really looks good. Is anything bad about the DeFi? Right. So the DeFi really depends on. You really have to because there's no bank. Okay, so now it depends on the app. So we will see how you're going to do this app. How does the app can help you do all the things? Another thing about app actually is a smart contract. So once you have everything being set up, then you just leave it alone. You can do everything for you. But now the thing is, you really have to do how to write this app for you. So this is one thing I think is one downside. Not everyone can do it. Okay, you will see the coding. Coding is pretty simple like a Python code, but then you still have to be a little bit experienced or not. And then you have to maintain your own records. This is a P2P. The good thing is the records are there in a database. It's just there's no central bank by the end of the year send you all the tax forms. So everything has based on yourself. It's good or bad. So there's always some people can maintain these things. Then that's the future of the DeFi. This is a very high level. So the decentralized finance is actually just a beginning stage, right? So it's not really unregulated, which means the ecosystems is still kind of fragile. It may happen some like scams, or they have some crashes like what we talked about Luna. There's lots of questions behind it. How are you going to improve that? I think that's the process. If the same thing for the banks, right? You heard all the stories, the bank can crash too. So that's why you have so many regulations come again and again. Even like in 2008, and then we still have the finance crisis. After so many years in the centralized finance, you still have those problems. So DeFi is just the beginning, but then the future look like those things definitely has an advantages over the CeFi. I think the main thing is efficiencies. That's what I always count. If you can do things faster, more efficient, then you can be more competitive. In the long run, for the systems which has a higher efficiency, you can to win. So that's as simple as that. It's like previously, we have this long distance phone calls, right? They use the switching technology, but then when the internet comes, internet can support the long distance call with pretty much a zero cost. After a few years, then the switching technology is pretty much gone. There's no one actually use this old switching technology for the phone calls. Okay, so that's in my view. This is just the beginning, and then you can see this is a very bright future, because the technology can make things much efficient and faster. So in future, you can do a lot of things without going to bank. The bank, they make so much profit. Actually, just doing one thing, just loan your money. They can charge you very high interest rate, but then the money in the bank, basically they get them for free. Now they charge you 5%, 6%. So that's the money they earn. Okay, now with that, the basic preparations, what we're doing about the DeFi. So very important concept called smart contract. So the smart contract is basically a program stored in the blockchain. It just runs whenever there's a condition being met. Right, so this can automate the execution of an agreement so that all participants can immediately certain outcome without any intermediary involvement of time or loss. So I think that's a good example. Is like vending machines. The vending machines, you go to the vending machines, you push the buttons, put the money in, and then you can get your product out. There's no any serviceman in between, right? This is automatic. If you think about this, is the contract being predefined. You put all the snacks there. Okay, this is $1, this is $1.5. You put $1 in, they give you one bag of snack. That's all. So everything happens in a way, distributed way. Right? So the smart contract is like that. The smart contract is a self-executing contract with terms and agreement between the buyers and the seller. So everything's been written there. Very clear. You put everything in a statement. Like vending machines, I put those snacks there. I tell everyone, okay, that's the price, $1 for one bag. You put $1 in, you get it. So that's very straightforward. We don't have to explain anything. All we're doing is put money in and get things out. So that's the smart contract. With the smart contract, now you can imagine, right? If you want to, you have $100, you want to loan to someone. Okay, you put that money in a blockchain, your wallet, and then all you have to define the conditions. I want to loan this money for interest, say 10%. And anybody said, okay, I want to borrow money for 10%. Then you've set your conditions. Then automatically, if these two conditions match, then they will transfer your money from the sender or from the loaner, the lender, to the borrower. The $100 goes to other people's wallet, and then the other people have to start paying this interest based on the terms and conditions. So that's how it works. You don't have to do anything now. You put it in a market, and then the things start earning interest for you. So you can imagine this way. For example, Airbnb. Airbnb. In the past, the only thing you can do with this hotel business, you need to has lots of assets, money to buy big hotels. Then you have all of the people to serve, and then you finally get into this hosting guest business. Now with Airbnb, you can just put your house in the market and the conditions, and then people come to rent your house and pay your money. So I think that's kind of a similar cases. It's a distributed way. You do not need to own a big hotel chain, put lots of assets. Can you get into business easily? All you have to do is just put your terms. That's my price per night. That's how much I can charge you. Then you go to the software, you based on my conditions, you book it, and then come here, you get the key, and then you leave. So it's like the traditional way. You go to the bank. You go to the bank now. You go to P2P. Airbnb, they provide this platform. Now you can, everyone, you have any spare rooms, spare house, then you start in the hotel business, right? So that's kind of interesting. With this technology, it just enable people can do those things. It's just like Uber, right? You have a car, then you have some spare time, then you have a car, you don't use that much, then you can get into taxi business.
Well, yeah, but there's the concern with the taxi business and the hotel business, et cetera. You don't know what you're getting. I mean,
yeah. So this is things to be improved, right? So you can do background checking, all kind of things. But the business, you think about it from business sense, this is just we are changing from centralized management business to decentralized business. Now we have this taxi business seems to be very successful. Airbnb and hotels. Now we are going to the finance. So that's something if you want to imagine, that's what we're doing here.
As a question for this part, so how do we guarantee that money is going to be back?
Okay,
the
so
principle.
There's no guarantees. Okay, so same thing. If you go to the bank, you will loan the money. This is how to guarantee the money you loan the money. Then how you guarantee the money you will return to the bank?
Has a collateral. That's quite a different.
No, that's if you use a credit card, there's no collaterals.
The bank has not just give you a credit card.
For the big amount, if you buy a house, there's collaterals. If you go to the credit card business, there's no collaterals.
Okay.
It's not always have the collaterals. Okay.
Yeah, one of early on, actually, the great example is between eBay and Amazon. Amazon was everything in the year 2000. I mean, eBay, but eventually they lost. And one of the important things in business is guarantee. So who is the trusting? Because eBay is auction market and no trust. So it's just become like some kind of a garage sale. But the Amazon actually come step out and said, I want to guarantee all the transaction. So that's why people flocked to Amazon and they become a big business.
Okay.
And the eBay not going anywhere. So
Amazon now also do the B2B. So B2B will be there. Okay, there's always some issues and problems. So that's the thing to improve. So you can see the Amazon, they start with this A to Z guarantees. Now they also have all of the B2B, the customer, C2C business. You buy a lot of stuff not from Amazon, actually from the third party. Okay, now think about those things. Those are the infrastructures to enable you to do all the business. And that's always, as I said, like that's the beginning of this distributed finance. There's always a room to improve. You will see that the examples about Luna. So that's a smart contract. With this thing in mind, you can do all things without a middleman in the middle, without the very costly the middlemen. As I said, okay, this technology, it did do one thing, it will be more efficient, less costly, and then much faster. So that's the advantage. You think about the good things, then there's always something you can be improved. Then I think those are terms or the agreements, how to enforce them, those things will be improved gradually. You know, just think about the centralized management. They spend maybe more than 200 years already. They still have some problems. Okay, now with this technology now, you can do all the things automatically. That's with this smart contract. So all of a sudden, you can do all the business. You don't have to worry too much, right? So that's the things we're talking about. With this technology, you can do better. I think that's the whole point. You can do better, and then there's some issues or loopholes in between, for sure, right? So at this moment, just we consider everyone's as like owner assistance, because those things you borrow the money is always there. You cannot change the record. You owe me $100, it's $100. Okay, then it's really up to the legal system how you're going to enforce that. You have a friend or you have anyone, you loan the money from the people, then you refuse to return them. Then what are you going to do? Then you still have to go to the legal systems. Same thing here. You still can go to the legal systems. So this is a record. You loan this money from me. Now you don't return to me, then I can sue you. Those systems still there. So all the things were happening here, it just automates the process and makes the things happen much more smoothly without a central middleman in between. Even you, as like a bank, loan your money to buy a car or buy a house, then you default the loan. The bank still have to go to the court to get your house foreclosure. They cannot just go and grab your house. So same thing here. There's always a legal system to enforce that. The smart contract or the DeFi is like the CFI. They just execute all those agreement or contract. How to enforce them? That's legal systems. It's outside that.
Glenn, we always say that there is no middleman, but can we say that there are like a infinite middleman, like a very small middleman, because it's distributed ledger system, right? And all this information will be distributed everywhere. So,
yeah, there's no bank in between, basically.
So I mean, instead of saying no middleman, we have actually many, like infinite number of middlemen.
Well, Mahmoud is saying that there's a platform, there's the technological platform, however it's constructed, has to be there, and whoever maintains the technical platform and whatever issues or problems you have with the technical platform.
Right, but then that's the only platform. They maintain a platform, but this is not middleman. All the business is between the peer-to-peer.
Yeah, well, you're assuming, okay, there's the technical way it works, but there's also, we're not discussing the whole trust issue. The reason people do business with banks is they have again, there's the backing of the banks in the US by the US government, the FDIC, et cetera. And now that hasn't always worked, as we know from history. But there's trusting that the system within which you're working is going to perform the way you expect. And what happens to the consumer? Yes, the bank can go after your home in foreclosure proceedings if you don't pay your mortgage. But what does the consumer do when the bank or the other party is doing all kinds of nasty stuff? You know, that.
Well, the bank is just like one party. They rely on the legal system, right? When you will default the loan payment, there's legal system to pursue that, right? Same thing here. If someone borrowed $100 from me and never returned to me, and I have this record, I can go to court and ask the money to pay back to me. If not,
and it costs you generally too much time and money to do that, so you're not going to do it. I mean, the reality.
Well, I can ask for the default party to pay all the legal cost.
Yeah, but again,
it depends, right? If you decide not to do it, then that's your choice. But you still can make the choice and ask the person to pay the money back.
Right. Well, just like in the area of intellectual property, small businesses that are, if their patents are being violated, they generally don't have the money to go after the patent violators. Yes, they have the legal right. Yes, the laws are there, but they haven't got the money to do it. It takes too many years, too much time and money to do it. So
well, there's no difference for CFI or DeFi. Like this is out of this scope. You know, you have the same problem for the CFI.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, actually, Carolina. You know, the financial digital payment in China has the WeChat, all this kind of payments. There's a lot of, you see on the news, there's a lot of fraud issues, and they hide in the different country, and they have to go through the extradition, all the things. So a lot of people lose money, but a small amount, and so you just don't claim it and move on. Well, actually, it's happening quite a lot. That's a big issue of digital payment. Actually,
that digital payment is different from what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not really DeFi issue, but it is a general issues.
The fraud exists everywhere. Credit cards still have the fraud. Even you use this the stores, they have the thieves, right? They store.
Absolutely. But with credit card fraud, if you've got a decent bank or organization, financial institution that's doing it, your credit card company will cut off payments to the vendor, and you get your money back right away in most cases.
Anyhow, so those are different issues. What we're trying to do here. Traditionally, we have a way of doing the finance. So what I'm talking about here, now there's a new way to do this finance. And this finance, I mean, if just try to understand correctly, they can do better, right? So in terms of the efficiencies, and then in sense of the cost rate. Yeah. So those things can be done with a smart contract. So that's how the smart contract is doing. So the smart contract, if you define it right? So then those smart contracts can engage a lot of things. They can, in a network, even for 1 cent of a benefit, those smart contract will go for it, because otherwise you're sitting there idle. Even for 1 cent, right? You may now, okay, I don't have time and effort to earn this 1 cent. But then you will have this app being defined. If there's just 1 cent of profit, takes 1 second. Why not? Every second you can make a 1 cent, and then you times the amount of the 1 cent is still big chunk of money. So that's why the smart contracts are important. When we see these decentralized applications, actually, what behind it is this DApps. So this DApps can do a lot of things automatically and make these things, very complex things, much easier. So that's the overall high level understanding what is DeFi. I mean, the DeFi is supposed to do. Then let me see. There's examples, right? Let me see. Okay. I just jump to a little bit faster to here. Okay, here's the example. So this is called this is the program. This is the program. Okay, so this Solidity. So that's the program. Okay, you can figure this it's like vending machines. So all you have to do is like you put a vending machine in the market, and then all you have to do is just put your the products in the machines. Then you can go home and sleep. So now you're probably going to go there and check every week and make sure you refill all those products. That's all. So then the money could start making money for you. Same thing here. You put the app here in the blockchains and then put your money there and set the terms. Then they start making money for you. Okay, so that's what I call the vending machines. So what you do is say, okay, this is my address where you put the money in, and then you can say, you give me some money and I give you something. The owners refill, and then how much money you should put there. Now, all of things, this is the terms and conditions. You put it here as a the smart contract, put in the blockchain, in the platform, and then that's all. Then that's all you are doing. So that's why we said, okay, the smart contract is really interesting things. You put the things together. Now you have some Ethereum, then you like to trade for USDC. USDC is stable coins. Then you can put some Ethereum into Uniswap, and then with this smart contract, then you can automatically find the best exchange rate. You can make conditions. Okay, what do you want to do? Make the trade and send your USDCs. So USDC is stable coin. Okay, so now you can see the examples for those DeFi. One thing is doing this like peer-to-peer. Another thing is you can use this the distributed applications to do those things for you without using the bank or other financial institutions. You are controlling the transactions. That's what behind the ideas. You do what you want to do, not like a bank control. Okay, now the issues, in a traditional finance, you do all of things, change those currencies, and then you have to check the rate. You do a lot of things. Here you have too much freedom. You can decide what to do, what kind of rate, what you want to do. So it's not for everyone. It's only for the people who kind of understand what you want to do, and then you can do it. So at this moment is still the beginning, okay, starting stage. You really have to understand what you really want. Put it there, and then you can do your business. So that's a good example about this, right? So for the platforms, Ethereum is the most popular the contract platform. Ethereum, I think the Bitcoin is the oldest cryptocurrency. The Ethereum has the most application platform. You can see last time we talked about NFTs, right? So there are many other platforms. It's not just the Ethereum, but then there's many other platforms. So each platform actually competing. They have different cryptos. They have to provide additional apps so then people can attract people come in to that platform.
So Glenn, Ethereum is providing this service for free or charges?
No, nothing's for free. They charge it for the gas fees. Anything you do is they have to charge your gas fees. So the fees are always there. Okay, it's like the bank.
That's what I meant at the beginning. So this Ethereum is actually kind of middleman here and
No,
it charges.
The middleman, you stay in the middle. This is just only provide platform. They don't do anything. You do business yourself.
But
You just provide. It's like the free market, right? So they provide a place. Now, how do the transactions between those peer-to-peer? They don't stay in the middle.
But we are doing peer-to-peer, but we are paying Ethereum some money, right?
Right. They only provide the services. They don't provide the middleman services. Everything is a peer-to-peer.
Can I say that it provides less services than like a traditional middleman, but it's still
They're not middlemen. They're just a platform.
it's just a platform. Okay.
Okay. So they don't in the middle. You can do whatever you want. So they don't. They stay outside of your business. So that's what they do. Okay. So now think about it. Okay, this is what I was talking about: digital vending machines. Yeah, you select product, you put the money in, you insert your correct amount, then the machine verify you have inserted the correct amount, then they dispense a product of choice. That's all. So you can see there's no middleman, but the vending machine is probably put in a popular place. So that's called for your you can buy a vending machines and put it in some places. You have to pay the rent, right? This is like the fees. You have to pay the fees. You pay the rent to rent that place. But how you do business, nobody cares. You manage your own business. The only thing they do is depends on how big your vending machine is. They charge your vending machines. Maybe they charge the electricity being spent because of the vending machines. That's all. That's their business. Your business is doing this as a vending machines.
Yeah, but it's not just the electricity. Somebody should take care of the vending machine, like protect it from.
Well, restock it, protect it from vandalism.
Vandalism.
That's the security safety of the vending machines. So then you have to have agreement with this place. It's okay. You have the liabilities to protect my vending machines, right? So or you have to buy insurance. Anybody vandalize
and there's a cost for that. So there's cost for, that's part of it.
But this is nothing to do how which product you're going to sell.
Right. And whether they take coins or credit cards or whatever.
Yeah.
Or,
so
you have an app for that.
Okay. So that's basically what a DeFi is about, right? And it's automatic executions. That's another term, right? Everything will be automatic executed when the contract conditions are realized. So there's no need for people to execute the result. You don't need the registrar or anybody there to take your money and then hand you over the product. So anything you need to do, you just write a contract. So the contract can be anything, right? So it can be withdraw a fund, or you do whatever, like the insurance policies, the premiums. So those concepts can go beyond just sell a product to you. So that's how the society really evolves. We are heavily relies on people's services. It's in future, you can imagine this way, the technology can provide the service to you. Another example I always want to use is like driving a car. Now you still have to drive your car, but now with this auto drive coming in future, you don't need to drive your car. So the car come to your house, pick you up and tell the car where to go. Then you go. After you get to destinations, you get out the car, then you are done. So maybe meanwhile you pay some money. So that's kind of things, automations, right? Automatic, being smart. So that's the trend for technology. We are doing all the things to make things easier, more efficient. In the first, I think always consider, first industrial revolutions, they always try to do one thing. They replace people's physical power with the machine power. Now you think about everything we're doing here. We try to automate this process. What we're doing exactly is try to replace not just physical part. We try to use machines to do intelligence, the work. I think that's brain power. Right? Doesn't matter what you're doing. A lot of things you don't need to rely on the people to do all the things.
So we don't have driver, that's correct, but like a human driver, but there is a computer driver that has just the brain, and from far it controls it. Okay.
Yeah, so in future, you probably don't even own a car. You don't even, why you have to maintain a car? So that's the profession to maintain a car. Whenever you want to go anywhere, just call the car to come to your place and just get you to there.
What you're describing there is a make or buy decision,
Yeah, I know.
similar to manufacturing. What comes to mind in this whole discussion are, you know, a few years back, there were the concept of microloans in third world countries.
Yes,
were created.
Kiva, et cetera. There are companies that do that.
Yeah, and that's what this reminds me more of that than anything else. I mean, when we talk about replacing the bank, we're for something cheaper. That goes back to the old manufacturing concept of make or buy. You're buying one resource versus the other.
Well, the concept is not new. It's just the technology-wise, we make them automated, right? Yeah. So that's the kind of things. A lot of things actually is, I think it's intuitive. It's been there for a long time. You know, just now with the technology, you can do it. It's like Uber, right? We have these things happening a long time ago. You got the car sharing, carpooling. You know, you're sharing the cost. Nowadays, with this technology, you know, even with this auto drive coming, then you can change people's life. You don't need to drive the things for yourself anymore.
Yeah, there's I mean, there are peer-to-peer lending platforms, right? I'm not thinking of any of the names of them now, and I don't know how they're doing.
No, Lending Club is doing that. Okay, they're slightly different. Okay. Lending Club, you know, this is you still give the money to Lending Club. It's a company. Then they lend to other people. They don't go through the bank. So they automate a lot of things.
But I thought it was direct peer-to-peer.
No, it's P2P. But then the Lending Club do all of those.
Well, the Lending Club is I guess guaranteeing the platform or whatever, but you know who you're lending to or who you're borrowing from.
You don't know. You don't know.
Oh, you don't. Okay.
You don't. Okay. So it's
I thought there were factors where
it's not it's not like a exactly P2P. I think the main thing for the Lending Club, they automate this process. They have each node like $25, and then you go there and provide other things. You know, they use the computer to streamline this process. There's no broker in between.
Yep.
But then I think the default rate is high.
You mentioned this like a vending machine model, the product wise. Is this kind of product just a financial product, or can be some different kind of product like software or some intellectual property?
Yeah,
or some video game.
That's what we can talk about. Okay, so the DeFi mainly talking about the finance, but for small contract, I mean, not small, for smart contract, you can do more than just finance.
Yeah, doing like people using software or some people develop apps, sell the apps, isn't it?
Yeah, for example, insurance, right? So those are very good example for insurance. Then you don't need a broker to buy insurance for you. Everything can be done automatically. So that's why it's a predictable outcomes. You know exactly what you want. So that's a good thing. So predictable outcomes. Everything is transparent. You know, whenever you have a broker in between, the broker is biased. They try to win your business. They can select what to talk to you, not necessarily disclose everything to you. So this is different. Yes.
But there's also the educational aspect, the understanding aspect. The reason you go, for instance, use a financial advisor, and there's all different kinds of financial advisors, is because you want somebody who is knowledgeable about the options and knowledgeable about what's possible. If you knew exactly what you wanted and how to structure it, then a system like this is fine. But if you don't, if there are pieces of understanding that you're missing, then there's no help to access it. I mean, the middleman, as it were, is in certain cases, is providing real value, is what I think I'm saying.
Okay, so at least this is the beginning, right? So now they have to be coexist with the CeFi, because otherwise, it's not everyone be able to migrate to this systems. If like in San Francisco's, if you, I think at the one time they said everything will be cashless stores. They said no, lots of people cannot even handle, they don't even have to have cell phones. So they do not allow you to just change it to the new system completely. They have to coexist with the traditional systems. But anyhow, so that's what we're talking about here. This is different issues. So we have a public record, everything's here for audit and tracking. So that the reason we can do that because we have blockchain. So that's the advantage for those assistants. Then you have privacies, you can protect your privacies. And then that's the guarantee from the technologies, okay? You do not need to disclose everything, because we talk about this authentication area with the blockchains. So with this technology, we do not need to show everything to make sure who you are, because we have this authentication technology, so they can identify who you are. So with the technology, you can protect your privacies, right? And there's a visible terms, everything's there, well written as in a smart contract. So not for everyone, not everyone can understand it, but for most people, or educated people, they can understand these things. And then you can see that everything is transparent. So that's the advantage.
I have one fundamental question regarding this distributed things. So if, for example, one person have this digital currency or something, DeFi things, they have digital wallet. In case he lost his wallet in certain way, okay? And is there some way he still can able to reclaim what he has? Or is there some place they will be able to do that? Or maybe just lost forever?
Yeah, just like you lost your cash, you lost your cash. Okay, so
but in the central bank system is different, because you essentially all you have
no. If you get some cash from the bank and then $10,000 and you lost it on the way, you go to the bank to give you another 10,000. No, your loss is lost. Okay.
So in the distributed situation, if the person lost the digital wallet, then it's gone. So his holding is gone.
Right. Same thing.
Okay.
You get a cash from the bank. It says that you lost on the way. There's no way you can go back to banks and give you another 10,000 because they lost it. Right. So you have to protect your own properties.
Yeah. Wasn't there someone who had a large amount of Bitcoin, like $100 million, and
you lost your private key. You lost it.
He couldn't find his private key or something.
Yeah. So there's no way you can get it back. This is technology. Nobody can get it back. If somebody can get it back, then there's no securities. So you have to understand this way. So okay, I still have a centralized management. I can get it back. Then it's not distributed way. So that's against this principle.
I think a good step is replacing the private key with the fingerprint, right?
Yeah, just put it in some safe places. Don't put it
in
one
case
place.
you lost your fingerprint that very easily. Get some cut or accident, then you lost everything.
No, there's many ways.
Possible.
Okay, if you really want to get into that, there's many ways.
You have to be much more.
To safeguard. Okay, you can put in your own computers, cloud, your own wallet, physical piece of paper. So there are many ways they ask you to do the safeguard your secret. The private keys.
I think that the biggest risk is essentially digital security issues, because the data can be corrupted one way or the other through many years. Can happen quite often. Then someday you're going to be, everything is gone. And personally, I have a few times I have storage, backup, everything, but still have a crash or something. You know, you just start over. But
Yeah, nowadays
critically, yeah.
there are many ways, right? You can put in the cloud, put in a hard drive, put a piece of paper, put a bunch of places, right? As long as you put more than 2 or 3 places, one piece of information is gone, then you can get it from the other places. So that's always a way to safeguard your assets, right? So that's a different issue. Okay, so now that's actually Mahou's problem. Smart contract. This is other use cases, right? You can use this you can use for currency exchange. You can use gaming. You can use insurance policies, or you can just create customized interoperable currencies. So a lot of things you can imagine, as long as you can write into a smart contract, then easily you have
currently traditional company is adding like a financial institution or something, some company is using this technology in their real product. Beside this, you know, the startup doing something new. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is already started. A lot of people, a lot of company invest on this. Okay, you can imagine this way of doing business more efficiently. So another thing is called permissionless. You do all the things. You don't need permissions. You don't need anybody to approve. You get along. You get along. Nobody has to approve that. Okay, so then it's called permissionless. With that, then you have those convenience, and then you can do things much faster. So that's what I show you earlier. This is the smart contract look like. Now that's the real code. You put the things here. This is not Python. It's not Java. This is called Solidity. Okay, so there's a bunch of code. Solidity. With Viper. So that's a bunch of language you can use. This language is a very high level language. You can read through. Basically, you can read them through. But then if you really want to write the contract, I think nowadays it's still not very convenient. Not everyone can write the code. But I think in future, you do not need to write the code. Basically, you can click through. Or you can have those very intelligent or intuitive interface to build up this the smart contract. This is shouldn't be an issue. The interface will be improved.
Is this like a Python library or?
Yeah, there's a library.
So who is Ethereum provides this library? Who is behind this library?
Who behind it? Sorry.
Who is behind this library? Who made this?
Oh, the platform. Platform has
the platform.
Yeah.
It's Ethereum.
Yeah, there's so many platforms. Okay, if you do a Google, you can see there's at least when I do the search, there's tens of them.
So these platforms, they put these ledgers in a network of computers, right? Is that correct?
What do you mean the cloud, right?
The cloud. Or...
Yeah, you can do it in cloud too. Okay, so that's everything right now is can work in the cloud. Okay.
Are they all using Solidity or
no.
different languages?
I just put it like in Israel they have a very developer friendly. This is just 2 of them. Actually, I think when I do the search, I found 5 of them. But I just used the 2 of them.
So there's different languages for writing the smart contracts, and then there's different platforms that
they use a different language. This language is a very high level language. Okay, so technically, the trend is to become higher and higher level. I think eventually you'll be providing like very intuitive blocks, modules. You all have to just click whatever you can probably fill the numbers. That's all. So then the smart contract has to be used by the majorities. The interface has to be easy access, easy understand, and no training needed. But this is what we have right now, okay? And then there's called composabilities. That's basically means you can call the smart contract in your own smart contract to extend what is possible, right? So that's the terminology being used. And then there's limitations. Okay, now here's limitations. At this moment, we still have human errors, lack of regulatory clarities, cannot pull information outside the network. So they're still inside their platforms. So the scalabilities, that's probably the issues with the blockchain. So the blockchain, they keep adding these blocks. So people has to be find a way to solve these issues. The block can be longer and longer. At some point, maybe there's some scalability issues.
And there isn't any interoperability between the different platforms and languages, et cetera. So
That's actually easily to be solved. Okay, a lot of the platforms will be able. There's a lot of project can bridging different platforms, can do the swap. So whenever it's a software, it's not an issue.
Is this kind of a platform like a distributed inside like AWS or Azure or something? So they can have a worldwide reach. People don't have to hack their own computer, but it's just a cloud-based. Is this kind of something cloud-based platform?
Yeah, you will download that and you will see. Okay, I download myself. I didn't really do the programming, but then you can see a lot of things can be done in the cloud.
So what you have essentially small apps in your phone, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't even need a PC, isn't it? The platform is some cloud area.
I believe you still need your own PC, but even you log into the cloud, you still need your PCs.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so that's the future of the small contract, right? It's very simple contract. Then I think it's probably easy to go this way. The problem is the complex contract, right? For majority of contracts, it's simple. It's not like a big companies, they have to negotiate a contract for months. But you can imagine, okay, you go to the bank, get some loans to buy a car. So those are kind of simple contract. So the majority of contract is a simple contract. If you can go with a smart contract, you can imagine how much you can be saved. You know, I'm not talking about those big contract. At least even for the rent, you know, for lease, I think in California, you know, they does not allow the people without training to do any lease contract. But then there's one exception. If you use this form, everything being pre-print, then you can do it, because all the wording is being already there, it's standardized. All you have to just fill some blanks, then it's okay. So you can imagine for all the kind of relatively simple contract, this is probably the way to go. Okay, but then to do all the things, that's still a long way to go. Now let's go to a little bit more concern about the recent cases. So one thing is called the liquidity mining. The last time we talked about the Bitcoin mining, the liquidity mining is different. It's still called mining, but it's not the same as Bitcoin mining. So what's the liquidity mining? Liquid mining, they use this term is like misleading. So basically, the liquid mining is the participant contribute their crypto assets to make it easy for other people to trade with the platform. So whenever you have platform, you do a lot of trading, you need to have money there. It's like a bank, you have to have money there. Okay, you put money there. Then liquid mining means you buy this crypto. Probably 80% of people, they buy this crypto. They don't know how to do with this crypto. So they have to park their crypto somewhere in the platform. So now this are ideas. Now you have the money here parked in the platform. Then why don't you just, like a bank, you know, you put in the saving account, then I will be able to use your crypto for the trading business. You know, to do trading, they need the money, they call it liquidity. So the liquidity mining means they provide the liquidity, and then whenever they charge a fee, they allow you to, they reward you some share of the fee. So you earn some interest. They call you earn interest. So it's slightly different. The bank actually loan the money to other people. And then here, You just earn the interest. So that's called liquidity mining. Now we can go to there. Okay. So another thing is, the liquidity mining is some risk. Basically, the major risk is crypto up and down. So that's the main risk for the liquidity mining. So anybody know how much they pay in the interest? You guess how much they pay?
Nothing.
None.
20%.
Per year.
20%.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
What,
what,
paying interest on what?
You park your money in the platform.
When you say money, are you talking cryptocurrency or US dollars or what?
Cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Cryptocurrency. So that's all of a sudden people see this is a high return. Much better than your stocks. Okay, now
Wait a minute. You're just for parking your cryptocurrency
in the
on
platform.
this.
Yeah. Okay,
Well,
now
that's fine until you start having 20% interest or 20% inflation,
Yeah.
okay,
like
now
what we've got right now.
okay, why is that? They just want to attract people, put more money. You put your real money, convert the currency, put it in the parking in the platform. Okay, so the issue is those platform, they put more money there, they increase the liquidity. I think this is not the main thing. They charge gas fees. I think another thing is the price of the cryptocurrencies. You think about how much the price is being appreciated.
Well, it's also fluctuated hugely.
Well, from year 2013 to now, on average, 10,000 times.
Well, yeah, but
So
then
why the price keep going up? Because people keep putting money in, so they can afford 20% return rate, because the return is 10,000 times. So the platform itself, they have so much money, they can spend 20% to
okay,
reward people.
but what if certain currencies have dropped by 20% or more in value, as they have recently?
Now this is a story. Okay,
they get
so
bankrupted.
anything happens, the up and down. So now this is called a stable coins. So what are stable coins? Stable coins just they have to really pack into another currencies, right? Like US dollars. So it's a stable. It provides an alternative way to high volatilities of most popular cryptocurrencies. So now with a stable currency, it's always $1 to $1. That make the finance world, they give them a peace of mind. You can finally do business. Otherwise, I not can do business because the money fluctuates too much. So that's why they provide a stable coins. So the stable coin, there's different types. One is called off-chain. The second is on-chain. The third one is algorithm-based. So what's an off-chain? Off-chain means the bank deposit alongside with ensuring regular auditing. So those they have auditing. Basically, they have they have to, whenever the mint will create the stable coins, they have collaterals. Okay, so for example, you have gold, you have US dollars. So those are off-chain collaterals to guarantee the value of the stable coin. So it's off-chains. On-chains, they are associated with cryptocurrencies as a collaterals. Off-chain means the things are outside the chain. On-chain is the currency as a collateral, but still inside the chain. So it's on-chain. So the third thing is algorithm-based, the stable coins. So they have an algorithm. I will explain how the algorithm works. So now it's like a bank. You put money in a bank. You put the money in a bank. Are you sure the money can pay you back? If everyone put money in a bank, you want to restore the money simultaneously, you don't have that much money. Okay, so same thing here. They want to, the bank actually, they try to, has lots of regulations, but in the early days, there's no guarantees. You put money there, the bank will be there all the time. A lot of bank the crashes, the bankrupt. So that's why they have to ask the bank to keep some money in the bank, right? Not like 100%, maybe say 20%, 30%. So that's the money they have to keep there. Still, this is just a small fraction of money they received. And then they loan out most of the monies. Okay, now what's the algorithms? The algorithm-based stablecoin depends on the algorithms. The algorithm sets the rules for balancing the supply and demand of stablecoins. So that's being specified in a smart contract. So the things how to buy, how to sell, they have a smart contract. They ensure the number of tokens related to the address update instantly to referring the token from one app to another, just to balance the value, right? So the primary logic is whenever you have a stable coin, whenever the stable coin actually go beyond predefined the stable value, okay, you go beyond that, okay, then you make more coins. On the other hand, if the value is lower, then you reduce the coins to make sure that they've overbalanced. Okay, let me give you some.
So they create the money.
Yeah. Okay. So we whenever you have those crypto coin, we call the tokens. So if the one token or one stable coin equals $1, if the value is higher than $1, then they create more tokens. If it's less than $1, then they have to destroy tokens.
Okay.
Glenn,
That's the idea.
Is this stability versus liquidity? So you make it less liquid to make it more stable?
Liquidity is just attract people to put money in there. Okay. Now the stable coins is make this finance. They make us the stable coin so that people can do the finance.
So my question is a stable coin less liquid or not?
No, it's nothing to do with liquidities. Okay. This liquidity is for the transactions. This is for the crypto currencies.
So this is also currency, right?
Yeah, this is also currencies. But then the liquidity mining is different. They just ask you to put money in there. Okay. And then the stable coin also have liquidity problem. So that's why we've been talking about the Luna later on. Okay.
Yeah, I just put, well, I just Googled, I put it in the chat about Luna. Somebody.
Okay, now we'll get there. Okay, so 90% of stable coins are still assets backed. Assets backed means they can either there's off chain or in chain. So 90% of is probably collaterals. You have the collaterals, and 5% no collaterals. 95 collaterals. So it's like a US dollars. US dollar in early stage, nobody trusts the US dollars. So US dollar, they have the collaterals as a gold. But at some point, when you issue too much dollars, then they cannot pack them to gold anymore. So they can disconnect the US dollar from the gold. So at this stage, to make the money stable, so they say, okay, they have the collaterals. But then think about it, the US dollars doesn't have the collaterals anymore. And what it has is algorithm, right? So the central, the Federal Reserve decide when to print money, when to reduce this.
All the time.
Yeah, so they
print all the time, exactly.
So compared to Bitcoin case, this stable coin, what's the volume, transaction volume in the real world?
Okay,
Relatively.
one to one. Okay, now make it easy. So the most common for the collateral is through the off chain. It's 91st.
Yeah.
Most common is off chain. Some of them actually is on chain. It's like cryptocurrencies. So the crypto collateralized stable assets is now is trying to like US dollars. They move to algorithm based. Now the US dollar is algorithm based. Everything in this DeFi, you can find a similar things in the C5.
Yes, one of the issue for the Bitcoin and today's situation is because of limited supply, because the US decentralized pegging of the gold is because the economy cannot moving forward with the limited volume of dollar. When the economy grow, you have to create more money. I think the algorithm based can be a real thing in the economy instead of the Bitcoin, because Bitcoin currently is limited supply, artificially high, but they cannot really integrate with the economy. This algorithm-based things, you can issue more money and you can facilitate the transaction of economy. Yeah, that might be really possible to make it possible, digital economy.
Algorithm-based stablecoin is very new. Okay, so basically what it says, okay, if there's the values above its peg means they kind of peg into whatever the US dollars. If the money is higher, if the stablecoin the values are higher, then it means we create more tokens. Okay, if it's lower, they just reduce or destroy the tokens. So then lower the money.
Hey, does anyone know anything about how the Hong Kong dollar works? I know it's pegged to the US dollar 6-to-1 or something like that. Now, do they have a limited supply of currency that can be printed or not?
Whenever you have algorithms, there's no limits. Okay, they just want to maintain the balance. That's all.
So it's interesting that this stable coin can be more stable than US dollar, right? Like algorithms
if it's pegged to the US dollar, it's not going to be stable.
Right. So that's a different country. They have different policies. So don't go too far away. So the system need to continue growing in order to keep the peg stable, right? So that's to make these things really working. The system need to continue going. So that's one of the things that what people do is give you the reward. Okay, the terminology for this reward is not interest. Okay, they just say this. For example, this is called I mentioned earlier, liquidity mining. So they give you the reward. Basically, you put money in, you get money, you get a reward. So it's like a saving account. Another algorithm, this is one algorithm, very simple, easy to understand. Another algorithm, this is actually for Lunar. He used this way, he used a market power. Okay, if you the money, they have you have a stable coin which is called UST. Then they have a Lunar as cryptocurrencies. So basically, they use these things. Okay, they use these algorithms, use the market. You buying and selling arbitrage, or use these bots, or use high frequency traders. So whenever the peg is to make sure the pegs are maintained. If the coin goes above the peg, right, the algorithm sells. If the value is too low, the algorithm just mint new coins. I think there's another things we can do. This is the general algorithm. This is about USD and Terra Luna. Okay, so this is from the company called Terra. So you can see this way, right? So the USD basically it's just $1. $1 USD is just $1 US dollars. Then they have another crypto called Luna. So what happens if the USD fell slightly below $1, because there's a $1 for the USD. If lower than $1, for example, 99 cents, then you can exchange, because it also says every USD USD can exchange for $1 worth of Luna. Okay, Luna, the highest point is $120 per Luna. So then just to say $1 worth of Luna, this is equivalent. USD and the Luna, they are equivalent. You can exchange it freely. So now, if assuming the USD is slightly lower than $1, so 99 cents, because now, if you're a smart guy, okay, you can use exchange 1 Terra USD for $1 US of Luna, because now your values is less than $1, but then you change it now for the Terra, then for $1. So what you earn is 1 cent, right? So this is $1 worth of Luna. So now you actually use 99 cents to buy $1 of Luna, because this is equivalent. But then you see the USD is lower than $1 now, and Luna is still $1. So if you are smart, then you change the Terra USD for the Luna, then you earn 1 cent. The vice versa. Whenever they are off balanced, either the higher or lower, then you can like a seesaw between USD and Luna to make this the difference. By doing that, you automatically make the Terra USD stable back into US dollars, $1 to $1. Okay, so think about this. If the USD, this is a cryptocurrency, is $1.01 for $1 is 1.01, means higher than the pack value. Now that means the people holding the Luna realize they can burn $1 worth of Luna and then get $1 of USDs. Okay, with that, actually this $1 of USD is $1.01, so they earn 1 cent. So if you keep buying that, right, then the supply, if you keep going out to the USDs, the supply increase, then you push down the value to make them the same as $1. So they use this algorithm to balance the pack value to $1. So in other words, to make this happen, they said, okay, they use this bot. Basically, this is the smart contract. They also keep a reserve. They put 1.5 billion Bitcoins in reserve. Whenever that happens, they automatically do the sell or the buy to make this balance. So they have the reserve is 1.5 billions. Okay, so with this reserve in place, they can maintain the value of the USDs. You see my point?
So how big, how much capital the company has?
They have 18 billions.
18 billion,
Now,
okay.
Here's what happens. If you know they only have 1.5 billion in reserve, now if you make difference over 1.5 billions, okay, then you will push this price out of the pack. So that's the point. We know this only have 1.5 billion reserve to make this the stablecoin pack to the US dollar $1. If you have more than $1.5 billion in this business, it's like you notice the bank has only reserve is only have 1.5 billion in reserve. Now you have $10 billion in the bank, and you go to the bank, I want to withdraw 2 billion. What happens? They don't have that much money. Then you basically say, I want to withdraw all the money. Then you create a panic. And everyone go to the bank, want to withdraw the money. The bank will corrupt. So that's what basically happens, right? And then the Lunar foundations, they have 1.5 billion as the reserve. They also limit only $100 million USD can be burned for Luna per day. So basically, if you count over something with the 2 billions over their reserve, then you can create a panic. So then used to be the market cap for USD is about 18 billions. So they only have 1.5 billion as a reserve. So that's probably not enough. So that's what happens, you know. So the biggest reason, another reason why we trigger these things, right? All of a sudden, this thing work very well for a long time. What happened? What really triggered these problems? So the biggest reason is most people held the USD. They have a protocol called anchor protocols. You put this one in a platform, it's like a saving account. They give you 20% interest. That's lots of money. Actually, a lot of the platform give you this reward around 20%. Now, if you have this cryptocurrencies, you have no use of these cryptocurrencies. Why don't you put it into their saving account and get 20% of interest? Now the Lunar, actually, the value of Lunar increased just last year alone is 10 times more, so they can afford that. But now this year, as the crypto market is really going down, so they said, okay, I want to replace this 20% rate with a variable rate. So that's really a triggering factor. So all of a sudden, about 75% of USD, the Terra USD, they have 18 billions, right? So then with this 18 billions, you said, okay, the rate will be variable rate. It's not even lower rate, just as a variable rate, but people understand the rate can go down. So then they just withdraw from the account. Okay. Now, once you withdraw from the account, you really have to you have to maintain this pegging. You have to burn. You have to supply this Luna. Now, USD is reduced. Luna has to be increased. And another group of investors, they have a project called Curve Finance. They also can swap the USD with other stable coins. So what really create the whole thing? What we create is a supply of Luna. Okay, the supply of Luna really ballooned, and then the price of the USD really plunged. Okay, so that's why you can see what happens. Okay, now you look at the swings. So this is the USD price. It's supposed to be $1. Control C. Okay, now.
Can they ask like a video reserve to help?
Okay, so you can see this one. So this is a USD, Terra USD, right? This is a stable coin. It's supposed to be packed into $1. Now it's only 12 cents. You look at the history. If you look at the history, where's the history?
Historical data. Okay. It's next to bottom left, 2 over from overview.
I think that you can have more. Where's the history?
Next to the overview at the bottom.
At the bottom.
Overview market historical data.
To left.
View. Oh, okay. Overview.
Oh, market, and next to it.
Yeah, okay. So here's you see. This is the 1 day. Let me see about all right. So they can maintain this is very well. At some point they drop a little bit, but because there's an algorithm, they back to the $1 easily. So that's starting from 2020, going pretty well until this point. Now,
so if you is historical data different from the overview? See where overview is, then 2 to the right, historical data. Is that any different? You go over.
Yeah, this is all.
No. Go to the overview button
and then right there.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, okay. So you can see this is a table format. Okay. This is the table format. This is the graphic format. Now you can see this the date overview. So you can see it works pretty well. The balance itself very well until at this point it dropped like 1 week ago. you drop, now it's 12 cents. So pretty much 80% being lost, the value being lost. Now we said the Terra USD is also packed into Luna. Okay, let me see what Luna looks like now.
So is it completely defunct, or are they waiting for something to happen? I mean,
No, they try to save it up, but I don't think they can save it. So this is a Lunar Price. Okay, Lunar Price, if you see this, okay, now it's 100% decrease. So you can see, used to be, at this point, it's close to $120. Now, it's a 0.00181. So pretty much nothing. It's gone. Okay, so that's the reason we're saying. So for this Luna, the algorithm itself, okay, they don't have a collectible. They only use the algorithms. So now the understanding, people's understanding between triggering effect is they change this they change this rewarding mechanisms. So just in 1 week, the entire Lunar market is gone. Okay.
would this be considered a black swan?
Yeah, so the algorithms are wrong. Okay, so now there's another theory. It says, okay, as I said, right, your reserve is only 1.5 billion. If that's attacking with 2 billions, they actually can push the USD out of the pack. Because you only have 1.5 billion reserve. Now, if you come with $2 billion dollars, you can do that. So you can lost your pack. Some people have a $2 million there. So why people want to do that? Okay, one theory is that because the reserve is in Bitcoin, right? Reserves in Bitcoin. So if I take a $2 billion to push you out of the pack, then the Luna had to sell the Bitcoin, try to make the pack again, right? So now if you do that, then the Bitcoin will drop. Then this guy is attacking, all you have to do is just short Bitcoin. So you use this $2 billion and then try to push this USD out of the pack. Then you will see there's the big drop in the Bitcoin. Then you can earn more than $2 billion because you short already. So that's attacking theory. So anyhow, whatever happens, this is most important conclusions, right? There's a risk. And then the regulatory actions will be taken against stablecoin. The stablecoin would create just for people can do business with the stablecoins. Now, what happens now with this Luna, you can see for the entire Luna market is gone. $120 per Luna. That's why in Reddit, you've seen people say, okay, the only way I can exit this mass is suicide. So people began to think about there's no way they can make up this money. So this is a stable coin story. So there's a 3 types of stable coins: off-chain, on-chain, and algorithm-based. The algorithm-based is only 5%. But the impact is big. So now you can see all of a sudden, all the cryptocurrencies keep dropping. But then this US and Luna contribute a lot of this panic. So the only thing that happens because the Terra, they come out with the platform, they can balance the stable coin with the US dollars by the market. You can keep a sell and buy, keep and sell, because the market they can maintain with a $1 value until one day they push it out of the cliff and then everything's crashed. So that's the Lunar Foundation. God, they have so much money, but just in 1 week, they're all being evaporated.
So for the people who are holding this money, can they changing out during the beginning? Some people can escape So can
some people
exchanging the
escape,
money out to different things, coin or currency, whatever.
Yeah, it's always the case, right? So there's if you escape early enough, then you probably don't lose too much. If you stay there,
But can they, get a currency different from them, or they are essentially cannot
it's
do
like
it?
a stock market. Once you sell, you sell. You don't sell, then
But is this the coin essentially interchangeable with something else?
yeah,
Or not?
the value drops, right?
But
So I think-
is a cryptocurrency? Can they like exchange it to Bitcoin or something? I was just
Doesn't
wondering.
matter what you change it to, the value change. The value is decreased by 80 pretty much 88%.
No. What I mean is
that's a
that
loss.
when is the price still high, stable that time? Some people can change into different currencies. And some people can escape. That's what I'm saying. Or nobody escaped at all.
Of course,
course.
right. This is how stable coin. They can change it back to dollars. They can do
Okay.
anything they want, but the value changes. Okay. So
Well, that's
basically
just some people losing, some people still win. So that's not a big deal, isn't it? So it's a win and it's a risk
Well,
and the reward. So
it depends on who you are, right? If you're,
yeah. That's exactly because the cryptocurrency. So give you 20% interest, that kind of risk, how much the risk factor is.
Yeah, and how much of the cryptocurrency market was pegged to Luna? So how much did the whole market go down?
Yeah, so you can see what's the market value, right? Even for Luna, it's kind of interesting. I look at the market, the cap, right?
$1?
You still have
1.3 billion, still billion.
you still the total
Not bad.
currency is in 6.5 trillion. So even the values are so less, they still have market cap still roughly have 1 billion.
Oh, that's not too bad. Still have $1 billion worth.
Yeah, because they have 1 trillion in circulations. You think about it, just they have 6.5 trillion plus 120 plus $120 a coin. They can calculate how big the market is. Okay, even before the year 2020, they only have like 32 cents. Then you move to like $16 and all go to $120. So that's a lot of money in here you put there. Well, anyhow, so that's summarize what we do, right? So there's a DeFi and a CeFi. And then you can see the main thing for the DeFi and the CeFi just have a middleman. The DeFi doesn't have middleman. But whatever the problem we have with DeFi, CeFi also has the problem. The only thing is DeFi don't have so many regulations. And then we are counting on the technologies. We count on people's, the owner systems. You try to business fast and efficient. That's what the DeFi is supposed to do. But now you can see there's a risk, right? You at the very beginning, you see DeFi and CeFi is very different. But actually, they behave pretty much the same way. A lot of people don't understand CeFi, they don't understand DeFi either. CeFi, since it's very complex, you have the Federal Reserve, they have this very powerful money try to managing all of the market. They issue the US dollars, they reshrink the balance sheet, whatever they do, they reduce the balance sheet. They print money or they don't print money, they get the interest.
Well, Glenn, a lot of people don't realize that that the Federal Reserve are all independent banks. They're not controlled by the government at all. They're not.
No, that's fine. That's a lot of people think it's very complex, but in reality, it's not so complex. It's very kind of intuitive, and because they have some data, maybe they can use this data to do analysis. But in this is a DeFi case. In a DeFi case, it's just based on everyone's intuitive. What do you do? If things are going well, right? Especially like in the past the years, this market grows so fast. It's not like a minor growth. It's like 10 times, 100 times growth. So that's what happens.
Isn't there any chance that the platform that the DeFi is built on, for example, Ethereum, get collapsed and crashed?
The Ethereum, right?
Yeah,
Right?
Ethereum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always possible.
So if it crashes, then the whole DeFi become crashed, right?
Yeah, that's why you see with this Luna case.
You
Luna
can change out the different platform
Yeah.
before, they crash. So
Right. I think that's what I'm saying. Even for the C5, the US, with this system, so many the researchers, economists, they do all the research, try to regulate the industries. We still happen like in the housing market crashes in 2008. So these things could happen.
But still, U.S. government was powerful enough to bring it back, like help it somehow, right?
Well, okay, you're when the currency goes haywire, the US dollar is based upon the faith of the US government and the economy. If the economy goes in the tank like it did in 2022, where 80% of the economy was shut down, basically
I mean, 2020.
2020, yeah. Well, yeah, and it's still going down.
Well, yeah.
So now you've got a set of currencies that are worthless, and until somebody in Washington decides to print $6 trillion, you can't do much about it.
Yeah, U.S. is because you have a big economy. You look at the other small countries, right? Venezuela, right? They print so much money, then the value decrease 10 times per day. So that doesn't matter is a C5 or DeFi. If you go out of the control, the value can decrease. So that's basically what I'm saying here is doesn't matter C5 or DeFi, right? If things go wrong, it can go wrong. Okay. Anyway, the decentralized finance, if you control compared to C5 and DeFi, they have pretty much the same issues. But now C5, because so many years of regulations, is heavily regulated. So you still have to follow this regulations. DeFi is kind of new, more efficient. There's not much regulations. So now with this Luna happens this time, I think it's going to change. So I think that one of the things regulatory actions will be taken against the stable coins. Now, even like the biggest the stable coin, I think that's USDT. This is the largest one, and then it been fined last year because they believe they do not have enough reserve. They pack into US dollars. They believe they do not have that much reserve as they claim to be. So they given a big fine. So anyhow, this is a new, the DeFi is new things, right? It's a brand new, and it's been there for only a few years. The things you can see, they have a very, very significant growth. And then the reason people are being attracted to this DeFi, because they can earn much higher rate than is a C5. And then they claim they can do that because their costs are low. Okay, and now the Uber, compared to the taxi, Uber actually, when Uber come to compete with taxi, Uber's the rate is much lower than taxi. So finally they can beat the taxi easily. So the taxi cannot survive. Now I think the same thing happens when DeFi come in. You try to allure more people to put money in. They give you a much higher return. I heard a lot of stories, so they tell me, oh, this return is much higher. At least for some USDTs, this is the biggest stable coins. They give you, at one point, they give you 1% return every day. Very high returns.
I see. So that might be the something we do not see. This is so so much growth. But in general, the decentralized action is always favored by people. And I see people talking a lot about like a web 3.0 essentially decentralized. I think in general, people don't like governments, want to be decentralized,
Yeah,
not
so that's
centralized.
what happens. Okay,
So-
at this moment, okay, the DeFi compared to CeFi, this is a small fraction. Okay, but then it's a faster growing area. I know some people, especially some people, the investors, they jump in because some people jump in because the cryptocurrency is really appreciated a lot. Some people jump in because they give you a lot of reward. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's pretty much about our series about this crypto theories. So don't think this is a very complex. If you understand this is a traditional finance, there's not much difference. It's just now you have a much more control yourself. So this is called a DeFi.
It's another form of gambling.
You can imagine that way too. But anyhow, this is going to be a trend. People put lots of money in there. You can see we call a lock-in value of this market is really, I think it's close to 100 billions now, if you check that numbers. So that's a big numbers. You think all of a sudden from nowhere within 2 years, people put so much money in there. The one way to really make these things really works to high reward because people keep put money in.
I see. Hmm.
And then
But,
now,
but you can think this might be the initial of a new thing. Take time to struggle, isn't it? Eventually going to be coming out of something.
right. So anyhow, so this is something new, and especially with the Luna crash to zero in the last week. I think some people are quite interested in Luna. And what about the stable coins?
I have never heard of it before. Since I don't know I thought the Luna is like something with Facebook has. Facebook has some code with the Luna or something, isn't it?
No.
PyTorch is the basis or something with Luna or something.
It's just a cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do not know that one, frankly speaking. So it's
No,
not really.
you can Google it now.
Facebook was playing with something 2-3 years ago. They were gonna launch it and then they didn't. They had some issues and they never did.
Yeah. Think about people. I think the even like 2 weeks ago, people predict the Luna and USD they can grow 10 times more.
Yeah.
Okay. But then if nothing happens, that's probably the truth. According to the trajectory, what we've been growing, they can easily grow 10 times more.
Is it possible that it returned back? Should we buy it?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Take a while. Do not know yet.
But what Glenn, one of the slides you showed that they only had 1.5 billion in Bitcoin reserves. And so it sounded like they didn't have sufficient reserves.
Well, it could be. So they have 1.5, where's that? It's 1.5 billion reserve, right?
Right, because if a lot of people pile in and there's more and more money in it, but the reserve doesn't grow to match the size of the market, that's an accident waiting for something to happen.
Well, they cannot put everything in reserve. They have to make money. It's like a bank.
Well, yeah, but that's why the banks had to be bailed out in 2008 because they were deregulated over a period of decades and they were allowed to do really risky stuff and they weren't forced to have sufficient reserves.
Right.
Why the US taxpayer had to bail out the damn banks.
Right. So I think that's the government in this case, they bailed it out, right? So in this case,
but it was the government that deregulated them over time and allowed them, because they were so much, I mean, anybody who remembers the 50s and 60s, banks were really highly regulated, interest rate was stable, banks were very conservative, they didn't do risky investments, they weren't allowed to, make these wild bets.
Well,
and
the
then
bank can make much more
money,
money, but by the deregulations, the financially they're doing much better, but then it's more risky. That's
Oh,
how
much better for who? I mean,
well,
the problem
bank
is,
itself, but finance industry, right? That's why you.
Well,
can
it doesn't do me a damn bit of good if
how the young graduate go to Wall Street, they can make $1 million a year.
yeah, but that's that's not the bank. That's okay. The banks wanted in on the Wall Street thing.
No, those are all of the finance.
But they let Solomon Brothers go.
They
and
have different type of finance product. That's how they make money. Right.
Yeah.
This is considered this is one of the finance product.
well, they made a lot of money when they got bailed out by the federal government.
Exactly.
See, that was billions of dollars. That part irritates me. Okay, go back to 1929 when the stock market crashed. That's when all the regulations began to be piled onto the banks. So that 1929 couldn't happen again. Actually, 2008 was worse than 1929, if you want to compare the two. So if they want to get into the Wall Street gravy train, well, guess what? Maybe they ought to get a job at Wall Street rather than screw the bank.
Right. Well, the thing is, Morris, what you're actually saying is, but they started with deregulating back in the 70s and they kept taking stuff off, like Glass-Steagall or something was repealed under Clinton.
Well, Nixon deregulated the US dollar. From
in
gold.
1970, Nixon took us off the gold standard.
Right. Okay.
Well, anyway, so I think we can discuss for very long, and then kind of getting late, 9:30 now. If any questions just related to this DeFi, if not,
I've got a comment. This thing is still, even though you did a really good job explaining it, it's not at the level of a 6th grader. And I say that because if you can make it understandable to a 6th grader, then everybody in the world can understand it. I'm not trying to degrade anybody, but the idea is make it easy to understand. And that's a really tough thing to do.
In the reality, not just understand the issue may not be play out, maybe they take 10 years or something. When this thing really come out, eventually what's going on? Because we do not know yet. This Bitcoin things, digital currency is all new and quite different than before.
Yep.
So it's take time to play out. Currently, even a lot of institution and the government don't know how to handle yet, I would say.
Well, that's a regulatory take a long time. But think about like Maurice said, okay. So the whole thing is not that complex. Basically, what I'm trying to say, a lot of things are like very intuitive. I think most people understand what does the finance works, right? So the mechanisms is very simple. You get some money for free, and then you loan it back. You lend them back for some money. That's how you make money. That's the whole finance business is doing. There's nothing more than that. Okay, but now all of the things they make this a financial product is just to hide the whole thing. But the bottom line is really they get your money, they give you little, then they loan the money out, they get more. That's all.
Yeah.
But this digital currency is only for special people in a special community.
Different. Okay.
It's not really affected with the the general population may not be.
Well, we're not talking digital currency today. We're talking about DeFi.
Yeah,
so
DeFi, same thing. And most people, I mean, like me, I even didn't know that before. So it's a special community, I would say,
Well, anyhow, so that's all for my talk today, right? So that's what I'm talking about. This the finance. So the whole idea is you really can grab a piece of the cheese from those the banking industries. That's what the people try to do. Why we need a bank in between? If we can do that.
Thank you, Glenn. This has been a very interesting presentation and lecture, and very interesting discussion. And I wish I had a crystal ball to know when to get in and when to get out.
Yeah, that's a different story. Okay. Anyhow, so I think that's all for today. It's a little bit over time, but I think people really like the topic. That's why we can go over time.
The good
Thank you very
technology,
much, Glenn.
you know, someday we'll find application, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we intend to do. A lot of things, blockchain is very promising.
Good stuff, Glenn. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I can stop this recording, and I can stay here for a while. For most people.